Okay, we are now working in Excel 3 Project 1, Raybridge Recruiting. I've already downloaded the starter file from Blackboard. I've gone into File and saved it with my name, and I've also gone in and changed and entered my name in the advanced properties. I'm now ready to start working on the project steps. And the first thing we're supposed to do is rename our sales worksheet to Sales and Commissions. I've already done that. You can do that by right-clicking, rename, or double-clicking and renaming it. We want to unfreeze column A so that it always shows. When you freeze a pane, that means that when you're working with a large worksheet, that particular area on the worksheet is always going to appear no matter where you are at in the worksheet. So we're going to come over here to freeze panes and then unfreeze panes. In A1, we want to middle align these contents so that it looks a little better. So we're going to go to Home and Middle Align. In B3, we want to enter a formula that uses the Now function. So we're going to come up here to Formulas, Date and Time. We're going to come down to Now and OK. And it's going to bring back the date that we're working on our document. We've noticed that C6 through G10 isn't formatted the same as B6 through 10, and we want all the formatting to be the same. So I'm going to select B6 through B10. I'm going to come up here on the Home tab to my Format Painter. Then I'm going to select C6 through G10, and the formatting now matches across the board. We want to show a trend of our data. So what we're going to do is come up here to the Insert tab, and we've got our spark lines. We want a line spark line, and we want the data range for that spark line to be B6 colon G6. We want it to show in H6. So I'm going to say OK. We want our spark line to be copied down to H10. So we're going to come over here and select the fill handle, drag it down to H10. We're going to look at this autofill options box because we don't want to change the formatting on our lines. So we're going to fill without formatting. And that's going to allow our lines to, the color changes on the rows to remain. Our spark line color, we want that to be dark purple text 2. And we want to show the high point and the low point. We want to copy our formula from I16 down to I10. It's the same way. We want to keep our colors of our lines the same. So we're going to go ahead and copy that down. Come here to our autofill options box and fill without formatting. Now we need to figure out the percentage month of our shares. So what we're going to do is we're going to make B13 our active cell. And we're going to enter a formula that divides the total sales for January by the total sales to date. So what we have to do first is enter in an equal key, and we're going to say B10 divided by, which is the / key, I10. Now, because we always want our formula to refer back to I10, we want to make I10 an absolute cell reference. So it always refers back to I-10. So to do that, you can hit the F4 key. If you're using a laptop, sometimes you have to have another key that you hit before you hit the F4 key. If you have two figures on your function keys across the top, someplace on your keyboard, like in my instance, it's a key that has Fn. So I'm going to hit that and then hit F4. In order to allow my function keys to be working. So each laptop's a little bit different. Otherwise, you can just go put $I, $10. That will work as well. So now I'm going to hit enter. I'm just going to use my check mark up here. Should be 18%. And now I'm going to copy that down to G. If you don't make the I-10 reference absolute value, then you will not get these figures across row 13. So make sure I-10 is an absolute value. The next thing we want to do is figure in commissions. So we're going to go to B17. This gets a little more interesting, shall we say. The commissions, if the company earns $200,000 or more in a month, then the sales commission is 35% of the sales. If the company earns less than $200,000 a month, the commission is only 27% of the sales. So we're going to use an if formula to figure out what our sales will be for each month. So I'm going to come up here to the formulas. I'm going to go to logical, and I'm going to come down here to if. So the figure that we're looking at first is the total for January, which is B10. So if B10 is greater than or equal to 200,000, if it's true, if it is greater than or equal to, then we're going to take the total, which is in B10, and multiply that, or asterisk, shift 8, 0.35. If, however, the total in B10 is not greater than or equal to 2,000, we're going to take B10 and multiply that times 0.27. So you should get 77,861.20. And we're going to copy that on down to June. And you notice row 18 filled in after we did that if function. We want these trend lines here in H17 and 18 to look like the trend lines up at the top. So we've got them selected. Since we have them selected, we now have sparkline tools. So we're going to go to design over here. We're going to change them to line. And then we're going to change the style. We want to make sure the style is dark gray sparkline. So we're going to come up here. It should be the third column, 5th row, dark gray sparkline. That's just so it's going to be easier to see. Okay, now we are ready to do some goal seek. Now goal seek, what that is doing is we're looking in the future. If, for instance, we've got our total placements of 28, what would our executives need to do to make that 30? So we're going to come up here to our, let me remember here, our data tab, what if analysis, and we're going to do goal seek. So here we're going to look at, if we want to set I-27, if we want that to be 30, then what would I-23 have to be? So I'm going to take this back out. I'm going to just click on it. So if we want I-27 to be 30, what does I-23 need to be? So we're going to say OK. And it's letting us know for it to be 30, and it's figuring it out. I-27 is going to have to be 35. So it's actually going to do the calculations for us so we know what the executives, what their average placement is going to have to be in order for our total to be 30. A lot of marketing companies do this. They do this with their inventory. So they can figure out, what do I need to do? So now we're going to take J22 and to J27, and we want to make sure everybody knows that, hey, this is just estimates only. We are just looking. So we're going to take J22 to J27, and we're going to merge and center that. Then we're going to take it and we're going to rotate that text. So we're going to come up here to the rotate, format cell alignment, make that -90. Okay, so we're running our text up and down. And now we want to format the width to 6. We want to delete row 35. We don't need that. This was just information. We don't need it now in our file. So we're going to click on the number 35 and then right click and delete. Last thing we want to do is create a cluster column. So we're going to first select A22 to B26. So A22 to B26. We're going to hold down the Control key and then select G22 to G26. You have to do the Control key because these are not adjacent cells. They're referred to as non-adjacent cells. So when we have those two ranges selected, we're going to come up here to Insert, go to Recommended Charts, and the first one should be your clustered column chart. We're going to say OK. We want to change our chart title, so we just have to select the chart title, and we want it to be Estimated Cells, July and December. Make sure you spell it correctly. We want to reposition our chart so that it goes from A35. So we just need to click on the chart and then drag to A35. And then we want it to go to E49. So we're going to click and select this bottom right hand corner and take it out to E49. The last thing we need to do is change this chart to Layout 2. So we're going to come up here to Quick Layout, make it Layout 2, and this is what your final chart should look like.